Unexpected rescue. The vast emptiness of space stretched out before Captain Zara Novak as she guided her small scout ship through the asteroid field. Her mission was simple: chart a safe path for the mining vessels that would soon follow. But as she maneuvered around a particularly large chunk of space rock, her sensors picked up an anomaly. "What the hell?" Zara muttered, adjusting her scanners. The readings didn't make sense. There, nestled within a hollowed-out asteroid, was a structure that definitely didn't belong. Curiosity got the better of her. Zara knew she should report back to base, wait for backup. But something about this felt urgent. She engaged her stealth systems and carefully piloted her ship towards the mysterious structure. As she drew closer, the details became clearer. It wasn't just a structure, it was a prison. The cold, metallic walls were lined with force-field-enclosed cells. Most were empty, but in one, Zara's breath caught in her throat. There, huddled in a corner, was a being unlike any she'd ever seen. Humanoid in shape, but with skin that shimmered like polished opal. The alien's large, luminous eyes met Zara's through the view screen, filled with a mixture of fear and desperate hope. "Shit," Zara whispered. This was way above her pay grade. She should leave, pretend she never saw this. But as she watched, a robotic guard approached the cell, brandishing what could only be described as a torture device. In that moment, Zara made a decision that would change the course of her life, and potentially the fate of the galaxy. She fired up her ship's weapon systems, targeting the prison's power core. The explosion rocked the asteroid, alarms blaring as emergency force fields snapped into place. Zara docked her ship at an airlock, praying her universal translator would work as she stepped into the chaos. Alarms screamed and emergency lights flashed as Zara raced through the corridors. She encountered a few guard robots, dispatching them with well-placed shots from her plasma pistol. Finally, she reached the cell block. The alien prisoner looked up as Zara approached, those otherworldly eyes wide with disbelief. "I'm letting you out of here," Zara said, working to disable the cell's force field. "Can you understand me?" The alien nodded slowly. "Yes," she replied, her voice melodic despite the fear evident in her tone. "But why? Who are you?" "Name's Zara," she replied, finally cracking the security system. The force field flickered and died. "And right now, I'm your best chance of freedom. Can you walk?" The alien stood on shaky legs. "I am Lyra," she said, "and yes, I can manage." They made their way back to Zara's ship, alarms still blaring behind them. As they strapped in and Zara fired up the engines, a dozen questions raced through her mind. Who was Lyra? Why was she imprisoned? And what the hell had Zara just gotten herself into? But there was no time for questions now. As Zara's ship detached from the airlock, larger vessels emerged from behind nearby asteroids. Whoever ran that prison, they had backup. "Hang on," Zara growled, pushing her ship to its limits. They shot forward, weaving through the asteroid field as energy blasts from their pursuers lit up the space around them. Lyra gripped her seat, eyes wide as she watched Zara pilot. "You're very skilled," she said, a note of awe in her voice. Zara allowed herself a small grin. "You ain't seen nothing yet, sweetheart." She pushed her ship into a tight spin around a massive asteroid, using its bulk to shield them momentarily from their pursuers. In that brief respite, she punched in the coordinates for a hyperspace jump. "This might get a little rough," Zara warned as the hyperdrive spooled up. Lyra nodded, a determined set to her jaw. "I trust you." Those simple words hit Zara harder than she expected. She met Lyra's gaze for a moment, seeing strength beneath the fear and exhaustion. The ship shuddered as it entered hyperspace, leaving their pursuers far behind. For now, at least, they were safe. As the adrenaline of their escape faded, the reality of what Zara had done began to sink in. She'd attacked an unknown facility, freed a prisoner she knew nothing about, and was now a fugitive herself. Her superiors in the Earth exploration course would have her head for this. But as she glanced over at Lyra, who was gazing out at the swirling vortex of hyperspace with a mixture of wonder and relief, Zara couldn't bring herself to regret her actions. "So," Zara said, setting the ship on autopilot, "I think it's time you told me exactly who you are and what I just rescued you from." Lyra turned to face her, those alien eyes seeming to look right through Zara. "It's a long story," she said hesitantly, "and one that may put you in even greater danger." Zara leaned back in her chair, crossing her arms. "Sweetheart, I'm already neck-deep in this mess. Might as well know what I'm dealing with." Lyra nodded, taking a deep breath. "I am Lyra Catharin, daughter of High Counselor Thithar Catharin of the Galactic Confederation." Zara's eyebrows shot up. The Galactic Confederation was the dominant political entity in this sector of space. Humanity had been trying to gain membership for years, always being told they weren't quite ready yet. "Okay," Zara said slowly. "So why was the daughter of some big-shot alien politician locked up in a secret prison?" Lyra's luminous skin seemed to dim slightly. "Because I discovered something I wasn't supposed to know. Something that could shatter the very foundations of the Confederation." Zara leaned forward, intrigued despite herself. "I'm listening." "The Confederation presents itself as a benevolent alliance of advanced species," Lyra explained, her voice tight with barely contained anger. "But in reality, it's built on exploitation. Younger species like yours are kept out not because you're not ready, but because you're more valuable as a resource." "A resource," Zara echoed, a sinking feeling in her gut. Lyra nodded grimly. "Labor, test subjects, genetic material. The ruling species of the Confederation use less advanced worlds as their playground, their laboratory, their farm." Zara felt sick. "And your father? He's part of this. He's one of the architects." Lyra spat. "When I confronted him with what I'd learned, he had me arrested. Officially, I'm undergoing diplomatic training on a remote world. In reality, you were locked up to keep you quiet," Zara finished. She ran a hand through her short-cropped hair, mind reeling. "Damn, this is big." Lyra laughed bitterly. "You have no idea. The facility you rescued me from, it's one of dozens scattered throughout this sector. Prisons, laboratories, processing centers, all hidden from the eyes of the galaxy." Zara stood, pacing the small confines of her ship's cockpit. "So what now? We can't just sit on information like this." Lyra's eyes followed Zara's movement. "No, we can't. But exposing the truth won't be easy. The Confederation has agents everywhere, technology beyond what you can imagine. And now that I've escaped, they'll stop at nothing to silence me." Zara stopped pacing, turning to face Lyra. She saw the weight of responsibility in those alien eyes, the fear, but also the determination. In that moment, Zara made another decision that would alter the course of her life. "Well," she said, a reckless grin spreading across her face, "looks like the Earth exploration course is going to have to find themselves a new scout pilot, because I'm not about to let you face this alone." Lyra blinked, clearly surprised. You would do that for me? For a cause that isn't even your own?" Zara shrugged, trying to play it casual even as her heart raced at the enormity of what she was committing to. "Way I see it, this became my cause the moment I blasted you out of that cell. Besides, sounds like Earth has a stake in this too, even if we don't know it yet." She held out her hand to Lyra. "Partners." Lyra stared at the offered hand for a moment, then reached out, her opalescent fingers intertwining with Zara's. "Partners," she agreed, a smile finally breaking through her serious demeanor. As their hands clasped, Zara felt a jolt of something. Static electricity, maybe, or just the adrenaline of the moment. But looking into Lyra's eyes, she had a feeling that this partnership might become more than either of them bargained for. The ship's computer chimed, warning of their impending exit from hyperspace. Zara reluctantly released Lyra's hand and returned to the pilot's seat. "So," she said, fingers dancing over the controls, "any ideas where we should start? I'm guessing showing up at Confederation HQ and demanding answers is out of the question. Lyra's expression turned thoughtful. We need allies. And evidence. Hard, irrefutable proof of what's happening. I have some contacts, people I trust, who might be willing to help. But we'll need to be careful. The Confederation's reach is vast. Zara nodded, a plan already forming in her mind. I might know a few people too. Ex-military types who've had run-ins with Confederation forces before. If what you're saying is true, I bet they'd jump at the chance to expose this. As the swirling vortex of hyperspace gave way to normal space, a small, nondescript planet filled the view screen. Welcome to Outpost Omega, Zara announced. It's not much to look at, but it's off the grid and crawling with people who don't ask too many questions. We can resupply here, maybe pick up some better weapons. Lyra leaned forward, studying the approaching world. It looks rough. Zara chuckled. Oh, it is. But right now, rough is exactly what we need. Ready to dive into the seedy underbelly of the galaxy. Lyra squared her shoulders, a determined glint in her eye. Ready. As they began their descent towards Outpost Omega, Zara couldn't help but feel a thrill of excitement beneath her apprehension. She'd signed up for the Earth Exploration Corps, looking for adventure, for a chance to make a difference. Well, she thought, glancing at the alien woman beside her, looks like I found it. Little did either of them know that their actions had already set in motion events that would shake the very foundations of galactic society. As Zara's ship disappeared into Outpost Omega's atmosphere, shadowy figures in distant halls of power began to move pieces on a board neither Zara nor Lyra yet fully understood. The game was afoot, and the stakes were nothing less than the future of the galaxy itself. Secrets of the cosmic underground. As Zara's ship touched down on the grimy landing pad of Outpost Omega, the air shimmered with the heat of 3 suns. The spaceport bustled with activity, a melting pot of species from across the galaxy. Smugglers, mercenaries, and rogue traders mingled, conducting business in the shadows of rusting freighters. Welcome to the ass end of the universe, Zara quipped, powering down the engines. She turned to Lyra, whose opalescent skin seemed to glow in the dim cockpit. Stay close, and let me do the talking. This place isn't exactly friendly to outsiders. Lyra nodded, pulling a hood over her distinctive features. I've never seen a place quite like this, she murmured, eyes wide as she took in the chaotic scene outside. Intergalactic Black Market Hub, Zara explained, checking her plasma pistol before holstering it. If it's illegal, immoral, or just plain weird, you can find it here. They disembarked, the acrid air hitting them like a physical force. Zara led the way through winding alleys, past stalls selling everything from exotic alien fruits to weapons that were probably outlawed in 17 systems. Lyra stuck close, her eyes darting nervously from one strange sight to another. Their destination was a dingy bar called the Nebula's Edge. As they entered, conversations hushed momentarily, a dozen pairs of eyes, some with more than 2, sizing up the newcomers. Zara strode confidently to the bar, Lyra in her wake. I'm looking for the Cosmic Tinkerer, Zara announced to the bartender, a burly 4-armed being with skin like weathered leather. The bartender's eyes narrowed. Ain't heard that name in a while. What's your business? Zara leaned in, lowering her voice. Got some tech that needs creative modifications. Heard he's the best. After a tense moment, the bartender nodded towards a door in the back. Through there. Don't cause trouble. As they made their way to the back room, Lyra whispered, Who is this Cosmic Tinkerer? An old friend, Zara replied, and possibly the only person in the galaxy who can help us stay off the Confederation's radar. The back room was a mess of wires, holographic displays, and half-assembled gadgets. In the center of the chaos sat a human man with wild gray hair and cybernetic implants crawling up the side of his face. Zara, my girl, he exclaimed, his voice a mix of warmth and manic energy. What trouble have you brought to my doorstep this time? Zara grinned. Good to see you too, Doc. We need your help. As Zara explained their situation, Leaving out the more classified details, the cosmic tinkerer, or Doc as Zara called him, listened intently, his cybernetic eye whirring as it focused on Lyra. "Fascinating," he murmured. "A genuine Confederation biosignature. My dear, you are a long way from the golden halls of Galactic High Command." Lyra shifted uncomfortably. "You can tell that just by looking at me." Doc tapped his cybernetic eye. "This little beauty can read genetic markers, energy signatures, even quantum entanglement patterns. Cost me an arm and a leg. Well, an eye, actually." He cackled at his own joke. "Focus, Doc," Zara interrupted. "Can you help us?" The old man's expression turned serious. "What you're proposing is dangerous. The Confederation doesn't take kindly to people poking around in their business." He paused, a mischievous glint in his organic eye. "Count me in." Over the next few hours, Doc worked his technological magic. He outfitted them with state-of-the-art cloaking devices, communication scramblers, and even a few weapons that made Zara whistle in appreciation. "This," Doc said, holding up a small, innocuous-looking data chip, "is your ace in the hole. It's a skeleton key for Confederation systems. Should get you into most of their lower-level databases." As Lyra examined the chip with wonder, Zara pulled Doc aside. "Level with me, old man. What are our chances?" Doc's cybernetic eye whirred as he considered. "You're going up against the most powerful organization in the known galaxy. By all logic, you don't stand a chance." He grinned. "But then again, humans have a knack for defeating the odds. Just be careful, Zara. There's more at stake here than you realize." Before Zara could press in for details, alarms began blaring throughout the outpost. Doc's numerous screens lit up with warning signals. "Confederation cruiser just dropped out of hyperspace," he announced, fingers flying over holographic keyboards. "They're hailing the outpost, demanding to search for, well, for you two, I'd wager." Zara cursed. "How did they find us so quickly?" Lyra's face paled. "The prison. They must have tracked your ship's energy signature." "Time to go," Zara declared, gathering up their new gear. "Doc, is there another way out of here?" The old man nodded, pressing a hidden button. A section of the wall slid away, revealing a dimly lit tunnel. "This'll take you to a secondary landing pad. I've got a ship there, not pretty, but it's fast and untraceable." As they prepared to leave, Doc grabbed Zara's arm. "There's something else you should know. The Confederation, they're not the only players in this game. There's another force out there, working from the shadows. Be careful who you trust." Zara wanted to ask more, but the sound of boots in the corridor cut her short. She nodded her thanks to Doc, then she and Lyra plunged into the tunnel. They emerged onto a small, secluded landing pad where an old, battered ship sat waiting. As they raced up the ramp, the sounds of pursuit grew louder. "I hope you're as good a pilot as you claim," Lyra said as they strapped in. Zara's hands flew over the controls, the engines roaring to life. "Honey, you ain't seen nothing yet." The ship lifted off just as Confederation troops burst onto the landing pad. Energy bolts sizzled past the viewport as Zara corkscrewed the ship upwards, punching through Outpost Omega's thin atmosphere. The Confederation cruiser loomed ahead, its weapons systems charging. Zara gritted her teeth, pushing the ship to its limits. They weaved through a barrage of energy blasts, the ship shuddering with each near miss. "We'll never outrun that cruiser," Lyra said, her knuckles white as she gripped her seat. "Who said anything about outrunning?" Zara replied with a reckless grin. She pointed to a dense asteroid field ahead. "We're going in there." "That's insane," Lyra protested. "Yep," Zara agreed, pushing the throttle forward. What followed was a harrowing dance through the asteroid field. Zara's piloting skills were put to the ultimate test as she navigated the treacherous obstacles, the Confederation cruiser falling behind, unable to match their maneuverability. Finally, they'd burst clear of the asteroid field. Zara punched in coordinates for a blind hyperspace jump, and the stars stretched into streaks of light around them. As the adrenaline of their escape faded, Lyra turned to Zara, her eyes wide with a mixture of fear and exhilaration. That was incredible. I've never experienced anything like that. Zara allowed herself a moment of pride, just doing what I do best. But we're not out of the woods yet. We need a plan. Lyra nodded, her expression turning serious. Yes, it's time we started gathering evidence. With the tools your friend provided, we might just have a chance of exposing the truth. As they discussed their next move, neither of them noticed the small, blinking device hidden beneath the ship's console, a parting gift from the cosmic tinkerer. Whatever game was being played in the shadows of the galaxy, it seemed Zara and Lyra had just become important pieces on the board. The ship hurtled through hyperspace, carrying its occupants towards a destiny that would shake the very foundations of galactic society. The stage was set for a conflict that would determine the fate of countless worlds, and at the center of it all, an unlikely pair, a human scout with a talent for trouble, and an alien princess with a dangerous secret. The cosmic underground had given them a fighting chance. Now it was up to Zara and Lyra to use it. Echoes of rebellion. The swirling vortex of hyperspace gave way to normal space as Zara and Lyra's stolen ship dropped out near a remote space station. The structure hung in the void like a tarnished jewel, its irregular shape a hodgepodge of different architectural styles cobbled together over centuries. "Welcome to Haven's Respite," Zara announced, guiding their ship towards a docking bay. "If we're going to build a rebellion, this is where we start." Lyra leaned forward, her luminous eyes wide with curiosity. "What is this place?" "It's a refuge for the lost, the hunted, and the forgotten," Zara explained. "Species from across the galaxy come here to escape persecution or to start over. And it just so happens to be home to one of the best information brokers in the sector." As they docked and made their way into the station, Lyra marveled at the diversity around them. Beings of all shapes, sizes, and compositions mingled in the crowded corridors. The air was thick with a cacophony of languages, the universal translators struggling to keep up. Zara led them through winding passages until they reached a nondescript door. A sign in multiple languages declared, "Whispers of the Void, information for a price." Inside, they found a dimly lit room filled with holographic displays and data terminals. At its center sat a being that defied easy description, part organic, part machine, with tendrils of light pulsing beneath translucent skin. "Zara Novak," the being said, its voice a melodious hum. "I calculated a 76.4% probability you would seek me out within the next solar cycle, and you've brought a most interesting companion." Zara grinned. "Always a pleasure, Nexus. We need your help." Over the next hour, they laid out their situation to Nexus. The information broker listened intently, occasionally interrupting to ask for clarification or to input data into its systems. "What you propose is incredibly dangerous," Nexus said finally. "The Confederation's reach is vast, and their methods of maintaining control are insidious. However, I detect a 12.7% chance of success, given certain variables." "I'll take those odds," Zara said firmly. Nexus's tendrils pulsed faster. "Very well. I can provide you with access codes to several Confederation outposts where evidence of their misdeeds might be found. Additionally, I have compiled a list of potential allies, beings who have reason to oppose the Confederation and the resources to aid your cause." As Nexus transferred the data to their devices, Lyra spoke up. "There's something I don't understand. If the Confederation is as powerful and corrupt as we believe, how has this information network survived?" Nexus turned its luminous gaze on Lyra. "An astute question, young Catharan. The truth is, there are forces at work in this galaxy that even the Confederation fears. Ancient powers that slumber, waiting for the right moment to awaken. Some believe that moment is approaching." Zara frowned. "What do you mean, ancient powers?" Before Nexus could respond, alarms began blaring throughout the station. A voice crackled over the intercom. "Warning, Confederation vessels approaching." This is not a drill. All residents enact emergency protocols. It appears our time is short, Nexus said, its tone maddeningly calm. Take this. It handed Zara a small, pulsing orb. When the time comes, you'll know how to use it. As they rushed back to their ship, chaos erupted around them. Beings of all species ran in every direction, some heading for escape pods, others arming themselves for a fight. They reached the docking bay just as the first Confederation troops teleported in. Plasma bolts sizzled through the air as Zara and Lyra sprinted for their ship. Stop them, a mechanically augmented voice commanded. The Catharan must not escape. Lyra stumbled, a bolt grazing her arm. Zara scooped her up without breaking stride, practically throwing her into the ship before diving in herself. As Zara's hands flew over the controls, bringing the engines online, Lyra manned the weapons system. I've never used anything like this before, she warned. Just point and shoot, Zara called back, lifting the ship off the deck. What followed was a frantic battle as they fought their way clear of Haven's respite. Lyra proved to be a quick study, her shots taking out several pursuing fighters. Zara's piloting was nothing short of miraculous as she wove through debris and enemy fire. Finally, they broke free of the station's gravity well. Zara punched in coordinates for another blind jump, and they vanished into hyperspace just as a massive Confederation dreadnought dropped out of warp. In the relative calm of hyperspace, Zara turned to Lyra. You okay? That bolt hit you pretty good. Lyra nodded, wincing slightly as she examined her arm. I'll heal. Zara. All those people on the station. Did we lead the Confederation there? Zara's expression hardened. No, this is on them, and it's exactly why we need to stop them. As Lyra tended to her wound, Zara examined the orb Nexus had given them. It pulsed with an inner light, seeming to respond to her touch. Suddenly, a holographic display sprang to life, showing a star map with several points highlighted. Coordinates, Zara breathed. But to where? Lyra leaned in, her eyes widening. I recognize some of these locations. They're supposed to be myth. Places of power from the time before the Confederation. As they studied the map, Neva noticed the small blinking device hidden beneath the console beginning to glow with an otherworldly light. Somewhere in the vast emptiness of space, ancient machinery stirred to life. Sensors, dormant for millennia, detected the activation of long-buried protocols. In the darkness between stars, something awoke. The galaxy trembled on the precipice of change. Zara and Lyra, armed with newfound knowledge and a growing network of allies, were no longer just fugitives. They were the spark that would ignite a cosmic rebellion. As their ship hurtled through hyperspace towards an uncertain destiny, one thing became clear. The fate of entire civilizations now rested in the hands of a rogue human pilot and an alien princess with a dangerous secret. The stage was set for a conflict that would redefine the very nature of galactic society, and at its heart, a question that had echoed across the cosmos since the dawn of time. In a universe of infinite possibilities, can the indomitable spirit of humanity tip the scales of cosmic justice? The answer, as always, lay hidden in the stars, waiting to be discovered by those brave enough to seek it. Quantum whispers of destiny. The stolen ship emerged from hyperspace in a remote star system, its twin suns casting an eerie purple glow across the cockpit. Zara and Lyra found themselves face to face with a massive structure floating in the void, a colossal ring world, its inner surface gleaming with the lights of a long-lost civilization. By the cosmic weave, Lyra breathed, her opalescent skin shimmering in the alien light. It's the nexus of infinity. I thought it was just a legend. Zara's eyes widened as she took in the impossible structure before them. What exactly are we looking at here, Princess? A quantum computer of unimaginable power, Lyra explained, her voice filled with awe. Built by the precursors, the race that came before all others. It's said to contain the knowledge of 1,000 galaxies. As they approached the ring world, their ship's systems began to behave erratically. Holographic displays flickered with strange symbols, and an otherworldly hum filled the air. "Oh, Lyra," Zara called out, her hands dancing over the controls. "I've got no control of the ship. Something's pulling us in." A beam of energy engulfed their vessel, guiding it towards an opening in the ring's surface. They passed through a shimmering force field and found themselves in a vast hangar, unlike anything they had ever seen. As they disembarked, the air around them seemed to pulse with intelligence. Streams of data flowed through translucent conduits, and crystalline structures shifted and reformed in response to unseen commands. "Welcome, Seekers," a voice echoed in their minds, "neither male nor female, neither young nor old. You have been expected." A holographic figure materialized before them, a being of pure energy, its form constantly shifting between different species and genders. "I am the custodian," the being announced, "guardian of the nexus and keeper of the cosmic algorithm. You have come at a crucial juncture in the grand tapestry of existence." Zara and Lyra exchanged glances, both overwhelmed by the gravity of the moment. "We're looking for a way to stop the Confederation," Zara began, but the custodian held up a hand. "The conflict you speak of is but a shadow of a greater war," the being explained. "One that has raged since the dawn of consciousness itself. The Confederation, in its corruption, has become a pawn of the void entropy, a force that seeks to unravel the very fabric of reality." Images flashed around them, galaxies consumed by darkness, civilizations falling to chaos, the light of countless stars extinguished. "But there is hope," the custodian continued. "The cosmic algorithm has foreseen this moment. You, Zara Novak of Earth, and you, Lyra Catharin of the Stellar Confluence, are nexus points in the quantum probability matrix. Your choices, your actions will determine the fate of not just this galaxy, but all of existence." The weight of this revelation hit them like a supernova. Zara felt her knees go weak, while Lyra's luminous skin pulsed with intense light. What do we need to do?" Lyra asked, her voice barely a whisper. The custodian waved a hand, and a shimmering object appeared before them, a device that seemed to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. "This is the Infinity Cipher," the being explained, "a key that can unlock the true potential of any sentient mind. With it, you can awaken the latent psychic abilities of your allies, creating a network of consciousness powerful enough to challenge the void entropy." Zara reached out, her hand passing through the Infinity Cipher's shifting form. "And how exactly do we use this thing?" "That," the custodian said, a hint of amusement in its multifaceted voice, "you must discover for yourselves. The journey to understanding is as important as the destination." Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the structure. The custodian's form flickered, its expression grave. "The forces of entropy approach. You must go now. The fate of all realities rests in your hands." As they raced back to their ship, the Infinity Cipher pulsing with otherworldly energy, the very fabric of space seemed to tear open. Through the rift, they glimpsed monstrous shapes and writhing tentacles of pure darkness. "What the hell are those things?" Zara shouted as they strapped in. "Void harbingers," Lyra replied, her voice tight with fear. "Heralds of the entropy the custodian warned us about." They blasted out of the hangar, the void harbingers in hot pursuit. What followed was a chase that defied the laws of physics. Their ship corkscrewed through impossible geometries, reality itself seeming to bend around them. Zara's piloting skills were pushed to their absolute limits as she navigated through collapsing probability fields and quantum storms. Lyra, meanwhile, focused on the Infinity Cipher, which seemed to be interfacing with their ship's systems in ways she couldn't begin to comprehend. Just when it seemed they couldn't escape, a blinding light engulfed them. They found themselves light years away, their pursuers nowhere in sight. As they caught their breath, trying to process everything that had just happened, a message appeared on their main screen. "The first test is complete," The cosmic rebellion begins now. Trust in each other, trust in yourselves, and trust in the infinite possibilities of existence. The universe is watching. Zara turned to Lyra, a mix of excitement and terror in her eyes. So, princess, ready to rewrite the laws of reality? Lyra's answering smile was both beautiful and terrifying. With you by my side, always. As their ship set course for the nearest inhabited system, neither of them could shake the feeling that they had just taken the first step on a journey that would change everything. The cosmic rebellion had begun, and the very fabric of the universe trembled in anticipation. Little did they know, their adventures were just beginning. Across the cosmos, ancient powers stirred, dark forces gathered, and the quantum threads of destiny began to weave a tapestry of epic proportions. The stage was set for a saga that would span galaxies, challenge the nature of existence itself, and prove once and for all that in the face of cosmic threats, the indomitable spirit of humanity and the bonds forged between species might just be the greatest force in the universe. Singularity's edge. The quantum wake of their impossible escape faded, revealing a sight that made even the battle-hardened Zara gasp. Before them hung a colossal space station, its design unlike anything in known space. Crystalline spires stretched for kilometers, pulsing with energy that defied conventional physics. The Nexus confluence, Lyra breathed, her luminous skin rippling with awe. I never thought I'd see it with my own eyes. As they approached, a voice reverberated through their ship, bypassing all communication systems. Welcome, cosmic rebels. You stand at the precipice of evolution. The station's hangar bay opened like a blooming flower, drawing their ship in with a tractor beam that felt more like a caress than a force. Upon disembarking, they were greeted by a being that defied easy categorization. It shifted between forms, at times humanoid, at others a swirling vortex of light and data. I am Synapse, it introduced itself, its voice a harmonious blend of tones. Curator of the Nexus Confluence and guardian of the Multiversal Codex. Zara, ever practical, cut to the chase. We're here to build an army against the Confederation and the Void Entropy. Can you help us? Synapse's form rippled with what might have been amusement. Direct, aren't you? Very well. Follow me to the Probability Forge. They were led through corridors that seemed to defy Euclidean geometry, passing chambers where beings of pure energy conducted experiments that boggled the mind. The Probability Forge turned out to be a vast spherical chamber, its walls a constantly shifting map of alternate realities. Here, Synapse explained, we manipulate the quantum foam of existence itself. With the infinity cipher you acquired, we can reach across dimensions, calling forth versions of yourselves and your allies from realities where the fight against entropy was won. Lyra's eyes widened. You mean we can recruit alternate versions of ourselves? Precisely, Synapse confirmed. But be warned, each incursion into another reality risks drawing the attention of the Void Harbingers. We must move swiftly and strategically. Over the next several hours, or was it days? Time seemed fluid here. Zara and Lyra worked with Synapse to forge their multiversal army. They pulled in versions of themselves from 1,000 different timelines. Hardened warriors, brilliant scientists, even a Zara who had become a living quantum computer. But it wasn't just alternate selves they recruited. Heroes and rebels from across the multiverse answered their call. A 7-limbed hacker prodigy from the Silicon Nebula. A pair of psychic twins who could manipulate gravity. Even a being of pure antimatter contained within a suit of impossibly advanced armor. As their forces grew, so did the attacks from the Void Entropy. Reality itself seemed to warp around the Nexus confluence, dark tendrils of non-existence probing for weaknesses. During a rare moment of quiet, Zara found Lyra staring out a viewport, her expression troubled. Hey, Zara said softly, placing a hand on Lyra's shoulder. Credit for your thoughts. Lyra turned, her eyes shimmering with otherworldly light. I'm scared, Zara. The weight of all this, it's overwhelming. What if we fail? What if we're not enough? Zara pulled her close, their foreheads touching. Listen to me. I've seen you face down impossible odds with nothing but sheer determination. You're the bravest, most brilliant person I've ever met. If anyone can lead us to victory, it's you. Their eyes met, and for a moment, the cosmic drama faded away. There was only this, two beings from different worlds, united by a bond that transcended species and reality itself. Their lips met in a kiss that sent ripples through the quantum foam. Unbeknownst to them, that single act of connection created a cascade of positive probability, subtly tilting the odds in their favor. The moment was interrupted by alarms blaring throughout the station. Synapse's voice echoed urgently. The void entropy has launched a full-scale assault. All realities are under attack. Zara and Lyra raced to the command center, where holographic displays showed the mind-bending scope of the battle. Entire galaxies were being consumed by entropy, while their multiversal forces fought desperately to stem the tide. It's time, Lyra declared, her voice ringing with authority. We need to activate the Infinity Cipher. Zara nodded, producing the shimmering device. Together, they placed their hands on the cipher, and the world exploded into light. In that moment, they were connected not just to each other, but to every version of themselves across the multiverse. Knowledge, power, and purpose flooded through them. When the light faded, they stood transformed. Zara crackled with quantum energy, able to manipulate probability itself. Lyra's form had become semi-translucent, her mind now a conduit to the collective wisdom of countless civilizations. Well, Zara quipped, flexing her newly empowered fingers, this should even the odds a bit. With a thought, they teleported to the front lines of the battle. Their mere presence inspired their troops, turning the tide against the encroaching darkness. Zara weaved through reality, her quantum powers allowing her to be everywhere and nowhere at once. She rewrote probability, turning certain defeat into unlikely victory. Lyra, meanwhile, became a beacon of hope. Her expanded consciousness guided their forces with perfect strategic precision, while simultaneously reaching out to the enslaved minds under Confederation control, awakening them to the truth. The battle raged across dimensions, entire universes hanging in the balance, and at the heart of it all, a human and an alien, their love and determination alight against the encroaching dark. As they faced down a particularly massive void harbinger, Zara turned to Lyra, a roguish grin on her face despite the dire circumstances. "Hey, princess," she called out, "when this is all over, want to go on a proper date? I know this great little neutron star cafe at the edge of the Andromeda galaxy." Lyra's laughter rang out, a sound of pure joy amidst the chaos of battle. "I'd love nothing more. Now, let's save reality so we can make that reservation." With renewed vigor, they plunged back into the fray. The fate of all existence hung in the balance, but with each other by their side, Zara and Lyra knew that anything was possible. The cosmic rebellion had become a multiversal revolution, and at its heart stood two unlikely heroes, proof that love and courage could flourish even in the darkest corners of the cosmos. As the battle reached its climax, the very fabric of reality trembled, but in that moment of ultimate crisis, hope shone brighter than ever before. Quantum crescendo. The multiverse trembled as Zara and Lyra, now beings of near-cosmic power, led their forces against the encroaching void entropy. Reality itself seemed to bend around them, entire galaxies reduced to chess pieces in this grand existential conflict. "Zara," Lyra's voice echoed across dimensions. "The cipher is showing me something. A nexus point where all realities converge. If we can reach it, we might be able to reset the cosmic balance." Zara, her form now a swirling vortex of quantum possibilities, nodded. "Lead the way, princess. I've got your 6, and your 3, and your 12, and probably a few dimensions we haven't named yet." They plunged through the heart of the battle, their mere presence warping probability fields and causing cascading waves of fortune for their allies. Behind them, their multiversal army fought with renewed vigor. holding the line against the entropy's relentless assault. As they neared the reality nexus, they encountered resistance unlike anything they'd faced before. Void harbingers of impossible scale materialized, their forms an affront to the laws of physics. "Well, that's new," Zara quipped, narrowly dodging a tendril of unreality that threatened to erase her from existence. Lyra, her consciousness expanded to encompass the wisdom of 1,000 civilizations, formulated strategies faster than thought. "Zara, on my mark, I need you to collapse the quantum wave function of that harbinger's central mass." "You got it, boss," Zara replied with a wink, gathering swirling strands of probability around her hands. What followed was a battle that defied description, fought not just with energy and matter, but with the fundamental forces of reality itself. Zara and Lyra moved in perfect synchronization, their bond transcending mere physical attraction to become something greater. A harmony of souls that resonated with the very fabric of the cosmos. Just when it seemed they might be overwhelmed, a familiar voice cut through the chaos. "Need a hand, kids?" The cosmic tinkerer appeared, riding what looked like a cobbled-together surfboard made of dark matter and exotic particles. Behind him, a ragtag fleet of ships piloted by some of the most notorious outlaws and rebels from across the multiverse dropped out of hyperwarp. "Took you long enough, old man," Zara called out, grinning despite the dire circumstances. "Have to gather a few friends," the tinkerer replied with a wink. "Now, let's show these cosmic party crashers how we do things in the quantum underground." The tide of battle shifted once more. While Zara and Lyra pressed on towards the nexus point, their newly arrived allies wreaked havoc among the enemy forces. Ships armed with reality-warping weapons tore holes in the fabric of space-time, while boarding parties of interdimensional pirates engaged in hand-to-hand and tentacle-to-pseudopod combat with void creatures. Finally, Zara and Lyra reached the nexus, a swirling maelstrom of pure possibility at the heart of creation itself. Here, all timelines converged, all choices coexisted simultaneously. "Now what?" Zara asked, her voice tight with the strain of holding her quantum form together in this place of ultimate chaos. Lyra's eyes glowed with otherworldly knowledge. "We need to rewrite the cosmic source code, purge the corruption of the void entropy, and restore balance to all realities." "Sure, easy peasy," Zara muttered. "Any idea how we actually do that?" In answer, Lyra reached out, taking Zara's hand. The moment they touched, a shock wave of pure creation energy rippled out across the multiverse. Their minds merged, becoming one with the cosmic consciousness itself. In that eternal instant, they saw everything, every possible outcome, every choice ever made or unmade. They witnessed the birth and death of universes, the rise and fall of civilizations beyond counting. And at the core of it all, they found the truth. The void entropy wasn't some external force, but a manifestation of fear, anger, and despair across all sentient beings. The Confederation's corruption was just one symptom of a much larger cosmic imbalance. With this realization came understanding, and with understanding, the power to effect change on a truly universal scale. Zara and Lyra, their essences intertwined, began to weave a new pattern into the fabric of reality. They didn't erase the darkness, for shadow was necessary for light to have meaning, but they restored hope, compassion, and the potential for growth to countless worlds that had fallen into despair. As the new cosmic order took shape, the void harbingers began to dissolve, revealed as manifestations of misguided fear rather than true enemies. The Confederation's iron grip on its subject worlds loosened, as beings everywhere awakened to their true potential and the interconnectedness of all things. When it was done, Zara and Lyra found themselves back in physical form, standing on the observation deck of the Nexus confluence. Around them, representatives from thousands of species, many of which had been bitter enemies mere hours before, mingled in a celebration of newfound unity. "Did we really just save all of existence?" Zara asked, her voice filled with wonder. Lyra smiled, squeezing Zara's hand. We gave it a fighting chance. The rest is up to everyone out there to make the most of this fresh start. As if on cue, the cosmic tinkerer approached, his cybernetic eye whirring as he took in their transformed appearance. Well, well, he said with a knowing smirk. Looks like you kids have been busy rewriting the laws of physics. Not bad for a day's work. Zara laughed, the sound filled with joy and relief. Yeah, well, don't get used to it. Next time the multiverse needs saving, we're calling in sick. The three of them turned to look out at the vast expanse of space, now teeming with renewed possibility. Countless worlds sparkled with the light of awakened consciousness, while new connections formed between realities that had once been separate. So, Lyra said softly, leaning her head on Zara's shoulder, about that date you promised me. Zara grinned, pulling her close. Oh, princess, just you wait. I've got the whole multiverse to work with now. This is going to be a date you'll never forget. As they shared a kiss that sent ripples of quantum possibility dancing through the air around them, the cosmic tinkerer chuckled and discreetly made his exit. Those two had rewritten the very laws of existence with the power of their bond. He had a feeling the best was yet to come. And so, as a new age of cosmic harmony dawned, Zara and Lyra stood at its center, two unlikely heroes from different worlds, united by love, adventure, and the infinite possibilities that lay before them. The multiverse would never be the same, and neither would they. But whatever challenges the future held, they would face them together, quantum outlaws, cosmic rebels, and partners in every sense of the word.